Hey there, guys. Just want to show you what I've worked out for the spec maps for league paints. So, the first thing I want to show you is one of the cooler features of the spec maps. Of course, now you can see the 2020 D2D Esports team livery with the spec map showing the chrome. But the other thing I want to show you is take a look at the spoiler, and this is really pretty cool. A user in the iRacing forums by the name of Julius Fallbush, and I hope I'm not slaughtering that. You can find his thread in the general painting discussion. Has put out some layers you can import to give a really good, realistic carbon fiber look to parts of the car. And I think it shows up real well. There's probably a little more room for refinement here. Maybe it's a little too scaled out still. That'll take a little bit of work, but that's not really the point of this video. I just did want to go over that for a second though, because it's a pretty cool thing to see. The spec maps are really going to improve the kind of product we can put on broadcast. It adds a little more realism when you have actual, carbon fiber on the cars instead of just a carbon fiber look. It's amazing. So, to the point of what we're doing, here you see the D2D Esports 2020 livery. This is my personal one with the hot pink I've become known for. And you can see there are no decals on the car. None whatsoever. It is not set up for WEC. It's not set up for Extreme Motorsports. It is just there. So now, let's go to Photoshop and I'll show you what we're going to have to do to make this happen. Okay, so I had to pause for a minute and get my paint shop reset so I could show you exactly what we're doing. Here in the right quadrant is the Extreme Motorsports decal overlay file that I use. Presently, you see my old paint. Now, what we're going to have to do to use the spec maps for our drivers is we will have to have them send in their TGA, not their MIP file, because we cannot edit a MIP file. We'll have to have them send in their TGA that they plan to use if they want to use a spec map. And we're going to have to overlay it with our league decals to make sure that they show up properly. And just to give you an idea, let me import my team paint. This is how it would be submitted. So here's my TGA. Let's make sure it's going to the right place. Yep, I've got the right layer selected. So let's import that. And we're not just going to drag it, because if we drag it, it can come in out of place. So we right click and we duplicate it. And now I've got a bunch of shortcuts set up here, a bunch of actions to go ahead and import the paint. So now let's update the paint I just showed you with the stock decals without changing the spec map. And you can see that the chrome is overlaid over the extreme. It's overlaid in a lot of parts. That's not the look we're really going to want to have. So we've got to make sure that our decals are set up properly. within the paint. So now let's go into the new spec map layer, and I've basically copied this from the iRacing templates. So one thing we have to do is import the alpha channel from the template, and we can't just, you know, get any alpha channel. We've got to get the one from the proper template, and this one's from the Ferrari 488 GTE, because when you import a Targa, a TGA file back in, you lose the alpha channel. So it's very important to have when we export this spec map file. So now what we're going to do, this is the spec map for the D2D Esports paint. I'm going to import it over that alpha channel. So I've got the alpha channel highlighted. And let's duplicate this layer. And now we have the alpha channel. Now it's very important in the red and green channels that we have our decals, and I've got center hood metal and center hood roughness here already set up. The center hood metal is set up at a straight 000. The center hood rough is set up according to iRacing standard for decals, and they have the RGBs at 37, 37, 37 for standard decals, and that gives it a very natural look, so that's what I've gone with. The same thing here for the numbers. Because we stamp the rear number, we also have to have that rear number on the car. So now let's turn off our spec map. And I'm actually the number 88, so let's go in and fix our numbers. So now we've got those numbers. Turn our spec map back on, and we also have to do the red channel and the green channel. And of course I'll create a, this one's called center hood, because this is the version of the decal pack where we have the nose decal on the center of the hood. I'll actually create the other versions that teams are able to use, including the one where it's in the default position. I'll have that set up and ready to go. So now we're pretty much good to go here. So let's turn our spec map off, and let's re-export the Ferrari GTLM. Let's take a look at it in iRacing. And you see we're still, you know, over-chromed. We've got parts missing. Parts that are chromed over that shouldn't be. The rear numbers chromed over. GTLM looks really muted on the back. Now let's export our new spec map. And our decals are flattened out and look like they should. So it's actually not going to be too complicated of a process. It'll add in a couple of extra steps, but not a lot. And then I will generate the MIP file that needs to be uploaded to the paint software. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. Again, a few more steps, but not overly time consuming. I think we'll be okay. And I think we're going to be having some pretty cool paints on the back end of this new feature that iRacing has given to us. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and just let me know if you have any questions.